federal government of Nigeria launching that $1 billion social protection initiative, which is aimed at moving vulnerable Nigerians from dependence on temporary palliatives to sustainable pathways of economic empowerment and self-reliance. Our Rise correspondent Punamiran Benjamin sent in this report.
As the Nigerian government is working towards eradicating poverty and improving the economy, the federal government has launched a new initiative known as the Household Prosperity and Empowerment Social Protection Project. The initiative was unveiled alongside 4 other initiatives designed to strengthen the country's humanitarian response and poverty reduction architecture. First Lady of Nigeria, Oluremi Tinubu, unveiled the initiative while explaining that this represents important steps towards improving the lives of vulnerable individuals, families and communities across the country.
The initiatives being unveiled are the Household Prosperity Empowerment Social Protection Project, known as HOPE SP, the One Humanitarian, One Poverty Response System, the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction Ministerial Blueprint, the Emergency Shock Response Cash Transfer, the Humanitarian First Magazine. Although this initiative serves different functions, I'm glad to learn that they share a common purpose, which is to improve the lives of Nigerians, particularly the vulnerable individuals, families and communities across our country.
Rise business analyst Chika Mbonu is with us with his thoughts on the $1 billion social protection program. You're welcome, sir. Thanks for being with us again.
This is how we do this morning.
I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah,
Welcome.
Where do I start? Let me start with this social protection thing.
Yes, the social protection.
You know, we didn't discuss, and me and you didn't talk about the argument about subsidy or no subsidy.
Right.
You know, and the arguments being put out by opposition that they were going to reinstate subsidy.
Yeah.
And because of the fact that the other argument was that, you know, the subsidy has created so much poverty in the land, and so on and so forth. And so it's not surprising that the witch cried. The witch cried in the night and the child died in the morning.
Yeah,
so, you know, there may be some contiguity between this launch of this program and the mileage.
Feels very sudden.
The mileage that has arisen on the political side, or the opposition side, arising from their subsidy position. But that's that. See, notice, I mean, just bear with me this morning, because the rigor that goes into the selection of names for these programs, you know, if they apply the rigor to making the programs work, you know, these programs will go very far in the land. Because each time you hear names, I did a journey back, Rotus, for the last 12 years. Yeah. And 2012 to 2015, we had a Shopee. Yeah. You know, 2016, we had the NSIP, homegrown feeding, school feeding. Jeep, Trader Money. Remember Trader Money? Oh,
yeah, who can forget Trader Money?
Our VP that time was going to the market.
In the markets.
Farmer Money also, you know that. Conditional cash transfer, NSSSP, you know, COVID-19 rapid response and NSIPA, I mean, Name Power, CCT. So they spend so much time, you know, these names, you know, Otis, there's a massive trust gap deficit between the citizens of the country and these programs. And a new acronym does not create a new trust. Right. You know, I will not start banding around figures and throwing around figures. What I will just do to you this morning is just gauge the public mood. Basically, Nigerians have heard many beautiful acronyms in the past. The average citizen is no longer impressed by the launch, the banner, the logo, the jamboree with those who dancing, maybe they're not even eating, or the grammar. The question is who received what, when, through which account, and is the person better of 6 months after? What has been the impact of this program? And why are Nigerians, skeptical always when these things like this are launched?
Yeah.
If you go down and say, did you hear about this program being launched to citizens of the country? Again, the first one is what I call announcement fatigue. People remember Shopee, N-Power, Trader Money, school feeding. Any acronym does not automatically, as I told you, create a new trust for citizens.
Right.
Visibility problem. That's the wrong one. Billions are announced nationally every time. But many households cannot identify one beneficiary in their immediate community.
That received it.
Right. The gap between Abuja numbers and the street experience fuels so much disbelief. We used to ask, remember time we used to ask in the program during the Buhari era, has anybody...
Did you get
the trader money? The other one is politicization fear.
Yeah.
Programs announced close to the election or distributed through political structures are easily interpreted as patronage, even when legitimate beneficiaries exist. And then inflation's, erodes headlines. By the time transfer arrives, food and transport costs have eaten so much of the real value. So somebody needs the food now,
right,
and then you bring it 4 months, 3 months on after. It's like the ambulance arriving after the burial, and there's no visible graduation. Despite all the quantum programs I've done, the systems I mentioned, has poverty risen in the land? None.
It doesn't reduce. Poverty is still high.
So Nigeria see people who receive support, but rarely see public evidence that beneficiaries are moved from vulnerability to stable income. So you will see this. And so I commend the government for the things they have done, but they launch. Yeah. But the issue is that, let's not go back to that. The other thing, Rotus, is the fraud. Every minister or official identified with this program has always gone to meet EFCC afterwards. So you hear about billions that should end up with the poor people and the vulnerables. End up in people's bank accounts. So that has been the history of this kind of programs. So I wish the government good luck. Most Nigerian things, very good in paper. They say they want to move from reactive relief to anticipatory social protection, from counting beneficiaries now to measuring outcomes, and from scatter programs to a household-centered system. Very good in paper. But again, like most Nigerian things, what the implementation?
Implementation, as you've always said.
Implementation.
Unfortunately, maybe we'll talk about fuels consumption in the future. But okay, actually, you know what? I've been told we have time. So, look, what are your thoughts? Do we still need imports for energy security at some point for PMS, or is this whole matter around domestic consumption? Because some will argue that yes, because we have more domestic. So where are you? I
told you. Yes. When I was one of the fanatics for the communal stream of Dangote refinery. And I've always said that it is, your Bible saying it's a mad country that will have the capacity for local production. Yes. And then we'll still be doing massive importation. I said that clearly. And so the Nigeria must do everything to support the Dangote, refinery. And the impact on the economy has been very massive. The GDP impact and everybody, even such that the politicians in power included it among their achievements. And that. And so we celebrate that. And I told you also that it's going to be a battle for Dangote permanent battle. Because of the structure, it's like the issue of NEPA. Right. Power. Why don't have the power in the country? A separate economy has been created by lack of power in our country.
So generator mafia.
So everything, generator repairer, generator mechanics, diesel industry, everything. So to defeat that, it requires political will, massive political will. Somebody who so the same thing with the fuel importation. A massive industry has been created. Tank farms, companies have declared dividends, created structures, overseas, locally, because of Nigeria was the largest market, biggest market for fuel importation. Right. How did you think that would disappear overnight? With the tank farms they built everywhere and everything. How, people are driving the best cars, flying the first classes and everything, based on the bedrock of fuel importation.
Yeah.
You know, so it was not going to be easy. And again, a third world country like ours also, those who civil servants who work with this thing, allegedly, you know, also partner with these fuel importers in doing things.
Yeah.
So again, not everybody, even whereas at the macro level, at the country level, we're very happy with celebrating Dangote refinery, but not everybody in the chain, you know, has been happy with that. So he had a battle in his hand. But you see, the sum total of everything is that Nigeria should not import petrol merely because he can.
Right. And
I'm dropping this. He should not ban imports also merely because Dangote exists. So there must be always a balance.
Balance.
You know, first exhaust efficient, verifiable local supply. Import only transparent shortfall. Transparent shortfall. And keep adequate strategic stocks, because Nigeria normally keeps about 30 days stock.
Yeah.
And then make both refinery and importers compete for the Nigerian consumer. For me, that's the summary of, for me on this.
Balance.
The balance.
Yeah.
You know, and there's so many questions to ask, Rutus, you know, in this respect. And the questions include the fact, how does NMDPRA calculate, how did they calculate for that July?
Right.
And what firms of local supply convenience were available before import licenses were issued? How did they issue import licenses?
Yeah.
How did they relate to Dangote refinery? Remember I said that we must have our local capacity calculated, and it's a shortfall that it can give licenses for.
For imports.
But what the Dangote group is saying that these people are just on their tables firing import licenses without a due regard to the fact that they had inventory. You know, see, if Dangote had about 446 million liters of closing stock in July, yet importation was massive. Importation was massive. Yeah. So how did he arrive at? How did NMDPRA arrive at that? So those are the issues. We want to make sure that the country benefits from the advantage of Dangote refinery. We saw the impact on everything, so many things. Our foreign exchange, our GDP is good for our country. And so we must not let selfish interests of some, you know, briefcase carrying companies and other people to, you know, make us lose our advantage. But keep an eye on national energy security.
Fair enough. Arise business analyst Chika Mbonu, thanks for your time as always. And